Okay, so let's say we want this little guy here to jump and dive into a water pool. You probably already see the preview of this animation, hopefully. This means that I was able to finish this. So I think I will start by adding the elements that I will need for this animation. So let's start by the trampoline. So I think I will need a simple cube. Edit mode. Can bring this to here and something like this. Okay. Let's move the cursor to this position here, and then I will use another cube to model let's apply the scale, and I want to add some subdivision here because later I think I will shape animate this, or maybe with a simple skeleton, and we can just round a little bit this here. Let's shade it smooth and activate this auto smooth option, and we can also add a bevel modifier, and we can add very simple material. Okay, I will need this wooden plank here to bend accordingly to the jumping of my characters, so I think I can do this easily with a simple armature. So let's add a single bone, and I can move this here, and let's subdivide this a few times. Yeah, what we can do now is to parent this with automatic weight option, and in this way, if I set the transform orientation to local and the pivot point here to individual origins, if I switch to pose mode, I can, you see, easily rotate and have this palm. I think it's perfect for what I need here. You see that this back part of the trampoline is moving. To avoid this, you can simply unselect the first bones, I guess, and then you see that it's staying perfectly in position. Okay, so we have our trampoline ready. Let's add a pool of water. Shift and C. I moved back my cursor to the center of the world, and let's create another collection here. Swimming pool. Oh, sorry, yeah, this is trampoline, and this is a swimming pool. Okay, let's say that our swimming pool is another simple cube, I guess. So we can enter edit mode and move. Let's isolate this. And now that I move its origin on this base level here, I can scale avoiding the Z axis. And then let's make this a little bit longer. Well, I guess that the swimming pool has to be underneath the ground level, so it's more accurate in this way. Or just bring something like this. And edit mode once again, let's go back, apply scale, edit mode, face selection mode, and let's make this little more depth. And then we can select this and inset this face here and then extrude down here somewhere. Okay, I really hate when I see the grid in this way, so I will disable the floor. We can also, let me name this pool, and we can also add simple plane object that we can scale very large in order to have the floor for our scene. So let's apply the scale, and we want this to be, of course, we need to have a hole here where our pool is located. So I simply add some geometry loops, and then I select and delete the center faces in this way. Let's add a simple material also for this. We can add some green maybe. So let me add another plane that I want to scale. And this will try later to add some dynamic paint to add some ripple animation. Or even we can add some fluid simulation, but okay, so yeah, another basic material for the water. And I guess we have everything that we need to start animate. So first thing to do is I want to move the all character hierarchy up here, and I want to be sure that's nicely aligned with my trampoline here. Okay, with our armature selected, we want to enter pose mode. So I just have to check how you can see that now I have the cartoon stretch of legs and arms set to 1, and also I have the hands controller that are not child of my hip bone, and I think I want to change this. So let me select this hand controller, and I want to set the IK stretch to 0, and also I want to set the IK parent to the hips. Yes. So if I now move my hip bones, you can see that the hand controller, the left hand controller is following, and also if I now move this, you see that my arm is no longer stretching. And this I like to have when I start animating, so I can control better the anatomy limits that my character has. And in some case, then I want to turn this option on to enhance some cartoonish movement. But to start, I prefer to do this. So let's do the same for this right hand here. IK stretch to 0 and IK parent, not to the root, but to the hips. So let me check. You can see that now I'm controlling. And for the legs, I want the legs to stay free from the parenting, from the hips. This I like in this way. But I also, for the hips, I want to bring to 0 the IK stretch for the foot controllers. So now if I move, I can directly see when my character topology has reached the longest shape. I hope this makes sense. Okay, so let's start bringing him to a more relaxed starting position. So I want to select my hands and I want to bring this down. To something like this. Also, I want to move down a little bit the shoulder bones. And anytime you move the shoulder bones, you have to remember to adjust the hands. So now I can copy and paste this rest position from this left hand to the right one, and you can do this with this copy pose, and then with Ctrl Shift and V you can direct have the same, and then Ctrl V. Let me also relax these fingers. I won't animate the fingers now, but I want them to be in a more relaxed position. Let me hide this one. Okay. So we are ready to start animating, and the way that I love to do, and here anyone has its own recipe for this, so I'm not saying that this is the best way. I am almost sure that probably it is not, but this is my way. So what I try to do is to start animating the principal controller and ignoring at first all the secondary bones, and so I'm sure that I will animate the hip controller, the hands controllers, and the two foot controllers. And I know that I have to translate and rotate all these objects, so I will press I and I will insert a location and rotation keyframe for each one of them. And you can see down here in the graph editor that for each one of these objects, a location and a rotation keyframes has been added to our timeline. And So let's say that he will go in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frames, something like that. I want him to rise these hands. Okay, and also go down a little bit with the hip, and we can maybe also turn, open a little bit the feet. So okay, I can now select once again all my controllers. If I press I can use available, and it direct add another location and rotation keyframe. Okay, I think I will add these two shoulder bones to the list of the bones that I need to move in order to get their nice feeling. So I will select the two shoulder bones and I just add a rotation keyframe. Let's say 1, 2, 3, 4. I want this to rotate on the x-axis in order to rise up a little bit, and same on the other side. Okay, here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 frames later. Let me continue a little bit this movement, and also for this one let's continue the same movement. And I don't like this, so I try to correct. Okay, you see that the hands are rising up too quickly, so I want to insert another keyframe only for the location, in order to have the hands follow a more circular path instead of a linear interpolation. Okay, now we can have some frames of waiting where we have a really subtle movement. Okay, and then here I want to have a faster movement, so you start to jump, and now here I want him to start his first little jump on the board in order to make this board bouncing, bending and bouncing. So I think 3 frames to straight the legs, up, one in this way, and here I will need this heel controller's bone because I want to add the rising on the tiptoe, on the toes of our character. So from here, let's insert a rotation keyframe, and then let's say 1, 2 frames. I want to have this extreme position here, and this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I want to go somewhere here. Okay. And normally in the real world, when you try to do this, you try to push yourself upward, but the bending wooden plank here absorb part of your energy. So this is a little bit tricky, but it's important to understand that this kind of behavior only happens if this is a fixed solid, but this is going to bend. So let me bring out this armature here, and I think we can start animating this. So we want to be sure to be in local position and individual origin for the pivot point option here. And I want to add the rotation keyframe for all these bones. And 1, 2, 3 frames later, I can bend a little bit this board here in this way. And let me go back to the other armature. So what we have now, we need to have his feet to follow, to stay attached to the wooden plank. To do so, let's select both of the feet and the hip controller, and we want to have a local and rotation position in this, at this keyframe, and then 1, 2, 3. We can use the global orientation. Now we want to go back here. We want to go a little bit down until we reach this contact line again. And let's insert another keyframe. So what we have here, we start to have this. The problem is that now we have this, that I don't want this, because let me delete this. So we have this, and I think I want to anticipate the heel controllers to something like this. Okay. So now, we have this. Is preparing and pushing down the legs and moving the trampoline. So the next phase will be that this trampoline is going to bouncing back by the force that he received. So I think we can go here and we can say 1, 2, 3 and 4 frames later we can reach this position, and this position will be the pushing force that our character will use to have his first movement upwards. So let's insert our rotation keyframes for the trampoline's armature. Let's go back to object mode and let's go back to pose mode for our character. And we are here, and now it's when the trampoline is bouncing back, bouncing upwards. So I will select the feet and hip controllers, and 1, 2, 3, and 4 frames after this, I want him to be here, and I can insert only the location keyframe just to keep our graph editor cleaner. Okay, we have some adjustment to do with the curve handles later, but this will be some fixing that I will do in a second phase. And here I want him to lift up a little bit. So let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 or 5 frames. I want him to go a little bit higher. And yeah, we can also have a little bit this part. And now to be, let me see how. I think it's really too long, too much this time here. So let's try to select all this and 1, 2 frames less. Let me try again. Op. Yeah, I think he has to go down direct. So 1, 2, 3, and I want him to go down. Up. And this has to go back, and these two, yes, these two, it's time for them to be reset. So 1 frame I press Alt and R and insert a rotation keyframe. So I have this, and let's go back to object mode and enter pose mode for our trampoline again, and 1, 2, 3 frames later. Let's go back to local here. Let's go down here, something like this, and insert a rotation keyframe. So we have up, and this time I want to have more recoil of energy for our trampoline. So I want 1, 2, 3, 4 frames more to enhance a little bit this. Okay, go back to pose mode for our character and select the feet, and they have to be attached and a little bit rotated. I can use global in this case. So, and now in this moment I need to have the hip bones to go even more low, and probably also a little bit this, but I'm not sure. No, this is not good. So let's say, so we have this so far. Point. And now let's go back to the trampoline armature in the pose mode, and I want to have a quite fast reaction bending upwards, bouncing upwards for our wooden plank here. So 1, 2, 3 frames again, switch to local mode, and let's go more high, something like, and let's go higher, rotate more, insert rotation keyframes, okay, and 1, 2, 3, 4. Also I want to have this continuing movement for the trampoline. Object mode, and back to pose mode for my character, and I want to select hip and feet controllers, switch to global mode, and for sure I will be in this position. Later you will see we will also animate the these toes to better fit the shape of our trampoline, but I want to stay focused only on this for now. So I want to insert here, but at this moment the hip has to be more straightened, and maybe a little bit this part we can try. And once again I want to have this guy here to be rotated. 1, 2. Okay, let me see. Yeah, something is starting to move. Let me select once again the feet and the hip controller, and this time I want him to go higher. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's try 6 frames, and I want him to be something like here. Okay. Now let's go back to the to this armature, because we want him to go 1, 2, 3, 4. We want this to once again, and now it's a little bit tricky, because we want to be sure to be, yeah, okay, we need 1, 2, 3 frames, and we need this to be down here once again. And I'm not editing too much the function curve handles, but in this case that is falling down, I am pretty sure that I want to with the box selection, I want this to be more sharp in order to have a more accelerated movement for the falling. And yeah, once again I want to animate the heels in the moment of the contact. So here we can insert one rotation keyframe, and the frame after, Alt and R to reset the rotation for these two bones here. And now, because our character is hitting the trampoline it will push more down this shape. So this is the point of contact. So I think I can try to delete this and bring this one frame and adjust in the right position here. Okay, this is a little bit cheating, but it meets what I need. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frame later, I really want this to be pressed down by the weight of our character. Oops, rotation. And I can select once again the hip and the feet in global view. I want to go down with him and insert a translation and rotation keyframe, and also adjust a little bit the orientation. And I think I need also to bend the legs once again. And something is odd. Oh, there's something that's not working nice. Okay, we have this moment here. Let me see. 54 is okay. So these two guys here, 54, I think I need to insert another keyframe for the location in order to have him to follow properly the board. And from this moment, the hip controller has to go down in order to make the legs bend. So I think we can have something like this. No, very I think we need to do this and this. Okay, essentially I moved down the hip controller sooner, so it is how to say, is listening to the bouncing of the board and is trying to absorb energy for the next bouncing. So let's say that the next one is the last one. After that, it will make the dive into the water. So let's go back to this and 1, 2, 3, 4 frames. One, two, three, 4. Okay, point. One, two, three, 4. Let's go back to global, and we want to have the two fit controllers selected, and this for sure, something like this. And here it should be in this way. but with the heel controllers rise up. Rotation, so I need to go higher with the hip, and 2. See, we have to let me see if it works in this way. Now we have to 1, 2, you see that it goes up too soon, so let's make him okay. And now we really want him to go high, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go high, and also let me switch to medium point, and then individual origin. You see the different behavior of the two options. So let's say this, and the two heels, they have to go back to normal here. And now I can see that after this, you see that we have this position, we want to have this one. So I insert another rotation keyframe for the to fit. And now I have to update this because they are moving too slow. So in this moment we want the hip and the foot to be attached to the board. Yeah. Start to look more nice. Let me disable all what we don't need. Okay. Let's go back to pose mode once again for the trampoline, and we want from now on the trampoline we will bounce by itself. The character is no longer to get in contact with it, so we can focus a few seconds and animate the end of its behavior. So it's doing this, so 1, 2, 3, 4. We can go here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can go here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4. I think can go here, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. I can Alt R and reset. Let me see. It's a little bit too soft, maybe. I think we can delete this and move this more near, and this one is too much. I think if I have the time, I would fix this. Probably I would animate from zero this trampoline here. I'm not satisfied with this. It's a little bit too blobbly, wobbling a little bit too much. But okay, I think that the most important part of this tutorial is I show you how to approach to this kind of animation. So I will take this, otherwise I am not going to finish. And so let's go back to my character skeleton here. And when we are in this position, I want this to fit, to be more here, and also we can already bring them. Yeah. Another part that I really love in character animation is to break the symmetry. So also this part, I'm not really focusing on this because of the time that I have, but otherwise I always start to move one leg in a different, slightly different position from the other in order to give a little bit more of a symmetry to the look of my animations. So we are here, okay. And now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 frame later, we want to go into the medium point option, and we have to imagine this kind of path that is following. So let's move this and rotate in this way. Okay. Let's see. It's a little bit too much. And I want also to bring this down. And here we have to start to animate our arms. So let me select the hands controller. So what we want to do with this is we want the hands to follow and help to stay in balance. So follow like a wave, the going up and down of the hips of our character. So essentially, I think that while he is moving upward, we want the hands going a little bit down. And while he's going down, we want the hands to move a little bit up in order to counterbalance this movement, I think. So now that he's jumping high, we want our hands here to go more down, and probably also they will rotate a little bit on the y-axis, something like this. And now that he is falling once again down, we want these two to rise up a little bit. See, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's continue this. Then 1, 2, 3, and 4. We can have this. And now that he reached this position, we can go in the top view and we can try to open this. Copy and paste on the other side. And we want them to be something like this. Also here, of course, the shoulder and also fingers animation will give a lot of more interesting on the animation, but let us stay focused only on this part. So we are here. Let me select the hands, hip and feet controllers all together, and let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at frame 80. Let me switch to global. Okay, in this case, because we are moving, we don't need to select this, sorry, the hands are parented to the hip, my mistake. So let's move this, and I want him to pause little bit longer on the middle hair before going down to the pool. Okay, so eye, rotation and location. I always forgot, you see, you can use available, but in the end, to be sure, I'm always adding the exact voice for each one of my controllers. So we have 1, 2 and 3. No, I don't like. You see, that's not good, and that's probably because we are now probably able to delete this middle one. Yeah, very bad, much better. And I think we can do the same for the feet. In the end, I'm deleting the previous keyframes, because you see that it's going to add some less smooth animation. So I can do this. Okay. And now we want to add a very, very fast and I can say funny animation. I want to have him stop at middle air and then suddenly splash down to the water. So in 2 frames, I want him to reach the upside down vertical position. Okay, so this and the 2 legs straight. And the ends, we want them to be also in their extreme position. Okay. And 1, 2 frames later, let's select fit and hip once again, and let's bring this character down underwater. And we want this to be very fast. So, okay, this is way too much. Maybe add 2 frames. We need to add some depth to our pool. Okay. Let me try to add another frames. Let's try 2 frames more. Yes, I think it's better in this way. Okay, I think I will stop here for this first part. Otherwise, this video is going to be really too long. Let's see what we have so far. Okay, a lot of work is still needed, but okay, we have a first phase. We blocked down the basic timing for the animation, and yeah, I think I will stop here for this part. Please let me know in the comment any question or suggestion you may have regarding this kind of topic. And let me also know if you like this kind of approach to the animation tutorial that I am doing for you. I really hope that you guys can appreciate this and somehow find it useful for your work or experience. I remember you that if you subscribe to my Patreon, you can have all these scenes, included the character, ready to download, and you can use and practice with this if you need this. So once again, thanks so much, and see you soon with the second part of this animation tutorial.